Good morning. Today is the very first World Day for Grandparents and Elderly as established by Pope Francis. From this day on, it will be celebrated every year on the fourth Sunday of July. You know what? I cannot think of a better way for Pope Francis, whether he knows it or not, to honor also today the 100th birthday of our very own Jean Allen. Happy birthday, Jean. She still comes to Mass. She was with us last night. We blessed her, we celebrated her, and she's still working on the parish archives, most of which are younger than she is. So in honor of grandparents, I would like, if you are a grandparent or a great-grandparent, would you please stand if you are able? And the rest of you, I just want you to look around. Number one, can we applaud them? Yes. But I want to give you a warning. Look at these people carefully, because these are the ones who have their phones ready with photos to show you. Okay, so just beware. All right, thank you. Speaking of which, I think this occasion is more than adequate to tell you just a little bit about my granddaughter, Alita. She's 2. And she spends every Thursday with Reen and me at our house. She loves coming to Grandma and Papa's house. And of course, we love having her. Week after week, it's so wonderful to see how comfortable she is in our house, how completely herself she is. We have our routines, of course. We walk to the park to swing and slide. We come home, wash hands and feet in the bathroom sink, read books, play with toys, take a nap, take a stroller ride. But part of the routine each Thursday centers around our meals, lunch and dinner. She loves to watch Reen. It's almost always Reen. Sometimes it's me, but it's almost always Reen who prepares the meal. She'll even help out sometimes. We sit. We say a little prayer. We eat. Berries, cheese, crackers, pasta, she eats voraciously. But put anything green in front of her, like a vegetable? Not so. Not too interested. But then after lunch, she will go to her kitchen and prepare a scrumptious soup or stew for all 3 of us. It's all pretend, of course. But she'll bring Reen or me a taste of her dish. And one of us will say, add a pinch of salt. And she'll run back and find some pretend salt. Or I might say, add some tarragon. And she nods her head and runs back to her kitchen, while neither she nor me know what tarragon is. And once in a while, I'll be a little funny and I say, you know what? That soup needs an entire cup of chocolate chips poured into it. And she loves the pretend. She wants to get it just right. But more importantly, she's beginning to learn some things about hunger and how to satisfy it. She's learning that while others have always satisfied her hungers, Mom, Dad, Grandma, Papa, others, she's now learning that she can satisfy the hunger of others, and she wants to do it just right. Isn't that just like a child? Isn't that just like a person whose generous heart has never been bruised? Isn't that just like the person discovering for the first time Excuse me? I'm sorry, I can't hear. My child is, she lives in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. I would be happy to talk with you. God desires to satisfy our hungers in an abundant way. I love that line. Did you hear it in the first reading where Elisha said, "They shall eat and there shall be some left over"? Just that simple. Out of a few barley loaves, 100 people ate, and there was some left over. This is, of course, a precursor to our gospel story where Jesus feeds 5,000 people on just 5 loaves and 2 fish. And there was an abundance of leftovers. It's okay. It's okay. The story of feeding the 5,000, we know this is an important story in all of the early Christian communities because it's the only miracle story that appears in all 4 gospel accounts. Today we hear it from John, but you'll also find it in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And pay close attention in the next 5 weeks because today marks the beginning of our exploration of what is known as the Bread of Life discourse. All the gospel stories out of John for the next 5 weeks will explore Eucharist and what it's all about. Perhaps you noticed this morning our altar cloth is the altar cloth that we use for Holy Thursday because we recognize Holy Thursday as the institution of the Eucharist. But it's wholly appropriate today and the next 5 weeks as we explore that. So why did Jesus feed them? Because they were hungry. It really is that simple. If we had read the text of our psalm response today, and I love the piece of music that we had, but it's a little bit different text. We would have read, "The hand of the Lord feeds us, answers all our needs." Point is, the theme is, God desires to satisfy our hungers in a big way, with abundance. And this really is what Eucharist is all about. The word itself means thanksgiving. Each Sunday we come together filled with gratitude for the abundant ways God seeks to satisfy our needs. I'm not a sacramental theologian, and I'm certainly no expert on the Eucharist, but there are a few things I can say with confidence that I believe at this point in time need to be said. The Eucharist has been part of front page news in our culture lately. So it beckons us into a deeper understanding. So let me say a few things. One, Yes, the Eucharist itself cries out to be reverenced with a sense of awe. Indeed, reverenced in much the same way that when little Alita brings me a taste of her stew, I am filled with gratitude and awe for what she has created. So today, when you come forward to receive communion, say your amen with genuine gratitude and joy from the heart. And then remember that feeling, that sincerity, and bring that to you each time you come to communion. Reverence. But at the same time, next, the Eucharist is as much about those of us gathered in community as it is about the bread and the wine consumed. The grace of the sacrament is broken open and shared by us, by the community. Think of it this way, if there's only one, there really isn't Eucharist, where two or more are gathered. Even when we bring communion to the homebound, to our sick, our elderly, we bring news of the community. We bring the parish bulletin. We visit. We don't gossip, but we visit about the community and share the latest news. Third, the Eucharist comes with leftovers, or at least it ought to, and they ought to be abundant. There should be an abundance of leftovers in our hearts to send us out from this place to care for those in need, comfort those who are troubled, reconcile with those we've hurt, and forgive those who have hurt us. Leftovers. Fourth, the Eucharist cries out, as I said, to be understood. You know, if the last time you had any catechesis about the Eucharist was the few short weeks before you received it for the first time, you know, it's time to update. We have a responsibility to catechize one another as to its meaning and significance in our walk of faith today, in the context of all that's happening in our lives today. So to that end, I encourage you to complete the sacraments component posted in the Personal Journey in Faith playlist as part of our Spiritual Growth Challenge on our website. If you don't understand what I just said, talk to me. But I have been talking about the Spiritual Growth Challenge all summer. And guess what? You can earn a digital badge. Yay! Finally, I am quite certain the Eucharist was never envisioned as a weapon to wield against political public figures for their stance on issues of the day. You know, when you think about it, in the eyes of those who look at us from the sidelines, in the eyes of those outside the church looking in, there's really nothing to be gained and a whole lot to lose by going down that road. But rather, let's envision the Eucharist, particularly the substance of the Eucharist in the gathered community, as a beacon of light that over time can soften hearts, change minds, and bring about genuine conversion. You know, as for those who should or should not receive the Eucharist, I'm going to go with the recent words of Pope Francis. Quote, "The Eucharist is not the reward of saints, but the bread of sinners." So, whether you are 2 like Alita or 100 like Jean, God seeks to satisfy our hungers with abundance.